Hello, my name is Vanessa, and I'm from Give Us the Floor, a nonprofit organization run by teens and for teens. Today I'll be interviewing Nadya Okamoto, a high school senior from Portland, Oregon, and founder of Camions of Care, a nonprofit organization that distributes feminine hygiene products to homeless women and educates the public on menstruation. Nadya has been featured in 17 magazine and numerous other prestigious publications. Hello, Nadya. How are you today?
Hi.
So, we're both graduating seniors this year, go class of 2016. So, a lot of the college process is like writing essays about who you are, and it's very like abstract. So, how would you define yourself as a person?
So I define myself as a person who kind of like faces life with the goal of taking advantage of every opportunities and every learning opportunities that's put in forth me in for, wait to take advantage of any learning opportunity that's put in front of me. And so, like as you mentioned, when I was going through the college application process, it took a lot of retrospecting on what I've been through and what I've gone through in my life. And I really honed in on the fact of my family facing financial instability and losing our home and undergoing legal homelessness, and how I took that experience and like extracted all of the inspiration I got from the conversations that I had, and from that I founded my organization. And that's kind of the mindset that I approach life with. I'm like kind of this person who has a lot of ambition and a lot of determination just to take advantage of any opportunities that are put in front of me, and the experiences that I am granted I really want to learn from.
Would you mind talking deeper about your experiences and struggles, like
Yeah.
in your teenagehood?
So, in the spring of my freshman year of high school, my mom lost her job, and within a couple days, we could no longer afford our home, and we had no choice but to move out and enter what I call our time of transition, which was several months of couch surfing with our closest friends who have since become family. And during these months of transition, my bus commute to school turned from 10 minutes to over 2 hours long each way. So I was waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, hopping on my first bus, and just kind of making my way to school, where I would get there early for like morning choir sessions, and then I wouldn't get back until like 10 or 11 after like all my extracurriculars like dance and mock trial. And and it was just kind of this really tough time of feeling pretty helpless, because I was like 14 or 15 at the time, and so I couldn't really do anything to help my family, but I was seeing how much my mom was sacrificing for us, how much our friends were supporting us, and I just had this overwhelming sense of almost guilt that I couldn't do anything more to help. And it was really tough on my own mental well-being, because when you're stuck in this mindset of like my family's struggling and I can't do anything about it, or I got in this bad mindset of like, because I'm granted these educational opportunities, I was on scholarship at a really amazing private school. For me, I was kind of living these two different worlds, where I would meet these homeless women on my way to school, at the same time of going to a school where I was kind of pushed forward with all these like resources and amazing teachers. And so I had this sense of like, I have to do something with this, like I can't just sit here and kind of learn. I need to do something right now with what I'm learning. And because of that, and meeting homeless women who are going through much worse living situations than I was, didn't have educational opportunities and didn't really see a way out of where they were, I kind of catalyzed this mindset of, I'm determined, I'm going to make a difference. Like, let's find out what they need and move on from there. And that was kind of the birthing place of Camions of Care.
So you started your organization based on like your conversations with homeless people, homeless women specifically, during your bus rides, and you said that like directly gave you the ambition to start your organization. So all of it really started with talking and dialogue and interpersonal connection, right? So how would you like? You
Well,
talk.
it really started where every day I was starting to see the same homeless woman, because my bus transitions were right in front of homeless shelters in downtown Portland. And I started talking to them, and I began to ask everyone I met, like, what's the most challenging thing about your living situation, and what can I do to help? Because for me, I was like going home and saying, I'm homeless, I'm not in my own home. But meanwhile, I was starting to realize that the word homeless or houseless has a lot of different meanings for a lot of different people. But their responses really surprised me because the one that I kept landing on with homeless women was menstrual hygiene. And I started collecting this journal of stories of women using stolen pillowcases, toilet paper, brown paper grocery bags most commonly. And I started talking to nonprofits and found that none of them openly supported menstrual hygiene, either due to a lack of funds or a lack of displayed need. And so it's kind of a never-ending cycle of women being afraid to advocate for their natural needs, and so organizations weren't aware of it. The big turning point of having these conversations was I was in a really abusive relationship at the time with someone who was older than me, and there was a weekend where I wanted to hide like the bruises that I had by staying in a shelter myself. And I told my mom just actually pretty recently. Sorry, I'm tearing up a little bit. But it was kind of these nights where I just stayed up because I was a little bit traumatized and couldn't sleep. And I started talking to these women, and they really opened up about what it's like to not have feminine hygiene products. And like the infections that they had and the toxic shock syndrome scares that they had, and how when they started getting these really bad rashes, they were too scared to go forward because then you have to tell like the male volunteer doctor or the female volunteer doctor that you are having trouble with your bleeding. And so it's just so stigmatized, and like it was kind of this turning point of like, I need to get out of the situation I'm in. I need to learn from my experiences right now, and as soon as I get out of it, I'm going to do something, and I did. My family was still in our time of transition. I started bringing in money both from like working summer job, but then also like doing babysitting, and from the money I would bring in, I would use about 20% of it to buy feminine hygiene products. And I started putting those in Ziploc bags before I went to sleep, and I would hand them out on my way to school. And what made me realize that this had so much potential to be a bigger thing was that the women would have actually like emotional responses. They would be like, oh my gosh, something I felt embarrassed about, something is someone is like advocating for me about. And that was really touching because it was like, this is natural. Like every woman experiences her period for an average of like 40 years in her life for a monthly basis, but then like getting the proper care seems like a luxury. And I mean, in many states, like there are luxury taxes on feminine hygiene products, which is outrageous because it's not a luxury to have your period. So in the summer after my sophomore year, after my family had saved up enough for us to back into our apartment, I founded Camions of Care, which is a youth-run global nonprofit that strives to manage and celebrate menstrual hygiene through advocacy, education, and service, through the global distribution of feminine hygiene products, and the engagement of youth leadership through a nationwide network of campus chapters. So in the last 2 years, our network of 1,900 volunteers has distributed over 14,000 care packages to 38 nonprofit partners in 12 different states and 9 different countries, and we have 25 chapters currently established at universities and high schools around the U.S.
Okay, so thank you, Nadya, for speaking with me and for all the work that you've done in like everything, you know, with Camions of Care and everything that you're going to continue to do. So you can learn more about Camions of Care and Nadya on the website camionsofcare.org, and you can find out more about our teen-led nonprofit Give Us the Floor by visiting giveusthefloor.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.